Hello everyone, my name is Ray Bowman and this is my Week 5 Multimedia discussion for our MPA 545 Conflict Resolution and Labor Negotiation class. As a quick overview, this presentation will cover the California School Employees Association, discuss a little bit about the Janus versus AFS-CME court ruling, the impacts of the Supreme Court ruling, provide an article on public employee unions, and provide a news article on the Wisconsin Act 10 Bill of 2011, of course, provide my references and a closing at the end. So the union I'll be discussing today is the California School Employees Association. The region that they cover, of course, is California, and essentially it represents support staff in our school system in the state's public schools and educational institutions. And support staff means non-teaching staff. So this is different from the California Teachers Association. This association or union actually represents personnel like custodians, food service workers, and administrative support staff, and it currently has nearly 250,000 members, and it is an ALF-CIO affiliate as well. So the Supreme Court decision in 2018 that we studied this week, the Janus versus AFS-CME court ruling, essentially ruled that public sector employees cannot be required to pay union dues if they choose not to join the union. Mark Janus, who was a public employee from Illinois, argued that union fees went against his First Amendment rights. And this decision really had significant implications for public sector unions like CSEA, and those impacts were really felt predominantly in the decline in revenues through union dues that were collected by CSEA. And revenue losses like this would mean that the services that unions can provide to its members become limited or restricted. And only about a year after the Janus case, CSEA actually lost 31,000 of its members. The peer-reviewed article that I reviewed this week was by Bradley Mariano and Catherine Strunk, and it was called After Janus, A New Era of Teacher Union Activism. And this article focused on the ways that teachers navigated the impacts of Janus versus AFS-CME. And again, those impacts were mostly felt in the reduced union revenues, which in turn caused membership losses because services were restricted, and people were kind of losing their trust and faith in unions if things could change that quickly for them. And this article focused on the impacts of teachers' voices and the impacts of them mobilizing and changing people's mindsets. One of the most impactful court decisions recently in the states was, of course, the Wisconsin Act 10 Bill of 2011. And Act 10 limited union power even further by limiting negotiations to simply wages, and in fact limiting raises to just cover inflation. It also made it difficult to establish unions in the way the voting for establishing unions had changed. But recently, in 2024, Judge Jacob Frost ruled that Act 10 parts of it were unconstitutional for treating certain public safety workers differently. And this is really insightful because for this week's topic in particular, a few of the court rulings and articles that we've taken a look at really shows the dynamic environment of labor unions and its relationship with the court system. Here is a list of this week's references, and there were plenty this week. And of course, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to your feedback.